Last time Lazio won two matches in a row, it was end of October, beginning of November. Finally, after a couple of months and after a couple of bad performances, Lazio was able to win two matches in a row against Fiorentina at home and against Parma away last Sunday. Alison McKenzie, finally, the table is moving for Lazio. Something has improved, and we are here to talk about a good performance, probably the best so far in the last couple of months or so.
Yes, I think so. I mean, you are kind of starting with a fairly low bar there, but it was better. It was better. I mean, I said, when we last spoke, that I thought this was the perfect opportunity to actually try and put in a 90-minute performance, given the problems that this Parma team are facing. And I don't think we did get that. I think the second half was very good, but the first not so much. But even so, it was nice to get what in the end was a fairly comfortable win for a change and to keep a clean sheet, Vittorio. That's the rarest of things this season.
Now, one of the question is, do we have to give credit to Lazio, or do we have to blame Parma that it's a team that it's true, D'Aversa changed things. They look much better than in the other performance, but still, especially blocking Gervinho, the rest of the team didn't look so sharp. So do we have to give credit to Lazio, or it's because Parma is not a good team?
Parma are a bit of a mess. I have a colleague, Connor Clancy from the Force Italian Football podcast, who lives and works in Parma, and he was at the game, and so he watches them a lot. And he was saying that they did look a lot better. So I think that with that in mind, you have to kind of respect this result for Lazio more, perhaps, than you would if we did the same thing against Fabio Liverani's Parma. But at the same time, it is going to be a completely different challenge going from this game to going into Friday, which I know you don't want to talk about, but we're going to have to address at some point. We are in Derby week, Vittorio, so that is going to be a big step up. But what you need, and I think what this team really needed, was the confidence boost. We know this team depends a lot on confidence, depends on momentum, and with that in mind, we couldn't really have chosen a better time to actually put those two wins together, because they're going to need that confidence and belief before this game.
Definitely. Alistair, are you more surprised that Ciro Immobile didn't score, or that Lazio finished with a clean sheet? Because they are both very rare things.
I know, yeah, exactly. It's the one thing we've been talking about is those are the two certainties: this Ciro scoring and Lazio conceding. But I mean, I thought Ciro had a bit of a strange game, really. I mean, he had, that chance where he was played clean through on goal, and I just thought he's got to hit that first time, and he scored, which would be a classic Ciro goal. Instead, he tries to go around the keeper and he runs it out. But yeah, it was a bit of an odd performance from him. I was also a bit surprised that Inzaghi didn't kind of take him off and rest him a little bit once it became clear that the win was kind of in the bag. But no, I think we can forgive him. I mean, it says a lot about the guy if he doesn't score, kind of starting what's going wrong. But yeah, I mean, look, keeping a clean sheet was, I think, even more amazing, because obviously Pepe Reina made one great save, but it's not something we've been used to, as seeing a relatively calm defensive performance.
I think Ciro does it on purpose. He doesn't want to put Luis Alberto in the assist table anymore. So when Luis Alberto makes the assist, or he's on offside, or he misses. That's what he does this year. So I think it's all that. And yes, clean sheet, but we have to remember that Parma is a team that struggled to score. So I think we have to remember that as well. But still, I mean, big surprise, one positive, the other one not so positive, but Caicedo scored again. And that was really encouraging. And what about Lazzari? second assist in a row. I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, it's madness, isn't it? I mean, it's this one as well. I think I said at the time when I saw it go in that it's pretty much exactly the assist that Lazio signed Lazzari to do. I mean, it was exactly the kind of move, where he's found himself in that position, but for once he's kind of picked out the player in the box. And yes, maybe there was a bit too much space for Alberto in that position, but still. I thought a big improvement from him. Actually, he was getting a bit of praise for his performance, and yeah, like you say, it's good to see because 2 assists in a row. Caicedo as well, good performance from him. That's what 2 goals in 3 games, is it? So I mean, he's on good form. He's taking that opportunity with Joaquin Correa out, and I know a lot of people have been asking us about Correa and if he's going to be able to be back in time for the derby. But I think the question now is, even if he's fit, does he get back into the team straight away, or does Inzaghi keep Caicedo up there?
I think it makes more sense to keep Caicedo. Correa should be fit. I think he should be able to go on the bench on the derby, because I think with Caicedo like that, he should be starting. And honestly, Alzer, I was expecting a little bit of turnover because Lazio was playing against Parma. Milinkovic, Luis Alberto, Ciro Immobile all played a bunch of matches already. And I think Parma was the perfect chance to rotate a little bit. Instead, again, Inzaghi went with the same starting 11. And yes, Leva was back, but he was suspended, so he couldn't play the other match. So that was the biggest surprise. Now, obviously, I'm not hoping for a rotation for the derby. Derby, you have to start the best 11 possible. But my concern is long term, these players will be very tired because they have played far more than the other teams.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. I was at the Roma Inter game on Sunday, and it was interesting that Antonio Conte was actually basically saying almost the same thing about the Inter team. And I guess every team seems to have the same worry this season about that. And he was saying, because he got asked about his substitutions, because they were 2-1 up in that game, absolutely in control. Conte brings off Hakimi, who's great. Martinez brings off Vidal, takes on kind of Kolarov and Gagliardini, and obviously Inter sit deep and end up conceding. But he kind of defended them, those choices, but he also talked about how all these players are playing 3 games a week and it's always the same guys who are playing. And I guess that's his choice, but it's his choice like it is Inzaghi's choice, and it does seem to be recently a bit of a trend where I don't think there's been as much rotation throughout the league. I think there's a lot of coaches who are kind of deciding they've found their kind of strongest 11 and are sticking with them. Like Milan, the only changes they're making are really based on injury problems. But if you look at Inter and Lazio and Roma and even Juventus, you can almost kind of pick that team quite easily if everyone's available. So yeah, I think that there's something to be said for continuity, but it's finding the balance that's the tough thing this season. But at least it's not this time a 3-day gap, and we've actually got until Friday to prepare.
Yes, which is very important because it's a key match, I would say, for the season. Because winning the derby after a win against Fiorentina and Parma would really boost Lazio confidence. And yes, it's true that Atalanta, Napoli, Juventus have 1 match to play still. But, you're 3 points from the Champions League spot. If you win against Roma, then you're getting close and your confidence is high. Juventus and Inter has to play against each other. So that would be a tremendous result for Lazio, especially without forgetting that, I mean, Lazio had a very bad run of form in the past. So being there with Lazio losing against Udinese, Sampdoria, etc. That's pretty much unbelievable, right?
Well, it goes to show, that putting together any sort of run of form, things can change very quickly for you. That's always been the case. I mean, we've mentioned time and again that really this season that nobody is standing out as being particularly unstoppable, and as a result, it's still a pretty tight-knit group. I think Milan and Inter are probably pulling away a little bit, but behind them, there's really not much. I mean, I'm looking at it here, and Roma 34 points in third, down to Verona on 27 points. That's a 7-point gap separating six teams, 7 teams. So it's really tight. That's not the kind of gap that before the midway point of the season is going to be fixed in place. But I do think that this is an absolutely pivotal moment in Lazio's season, because actually managing to beat Roma would not only continue this run and keep Lazio moving up the table, but it would stop Roma from pulling away. At the moment, Roma are in this strange position where they're kind of stuck between leading the kind of top four race or being just behind in the Scudetto race. I think if Roma manage to win this game, they'll fancy themselves as being considered in the title race. But if they don't, it's going to be quite hard for them to see it that way. So it's kind of a double-edged sword for Lazio. It's they almost get 2 wins by winning this match, because not only do they move up the standings, but they really absolutely take a hammer to Roma's ambitions for the season.
Yeah. And talking about the derby, the one of the biggest news yesterday was Strakosha that hasn't been called for the match, and it looks like he has an injury problem. It doesn't look that serious, but as much as I love Strakosha, I think for the derby, it would be a huge risk to play him. So I think Reina should start, and Reina played well against Parma. Again, Parma is not a huge team, but I think Lazio have to stick with Reina at least for this match.
Yeah, what did you think of that? It was a bit confusing, I think, for everyone, the Strakosha thing, because we saw he wasn't in the squad, and everyone kind of seemed to kick up a storm about it. And then Lazio released a statement to calm everybody down. But it did seem a bit strange that there was the need to do that, and it hadn't already been mentioned in advance.
Well, he trained Saturday with the team, so that was a little bit surprising. I think maybe the new communication manager understood that it was time to improve communication, because let's not forget that in the last week or so we had rumors about Caicedo not happy because he has been benched against AC Milan, who asked to leave, Raul Moro that wants to leave. I mean, every day there's a new rumors of a Lazio player that wants to leave. Same thing, there were rumors that Strakosha wasn't happy because he wasn't playing, and so he refused to be called for Parma's match. So I think doing this press release late, I agree with you as usual, but at least I think don't give too much credit to the rumors that Strakosha wants to leave.
Yeah, I think because it's January as well, everything is being kind of framed in a transfer market context. Anything that would normally happen is now being seen through that lens. So how about this question? I'll start going through a few of the ones we've had on Twitter. Our friend Rami, he says, Roma will be a very tough game that will be hard to watch. Would you take a draw?
I don't know because the thing about Roma is they weren't able to beat a single big team this season. They play with a very average Juventus, and they should have won that match, and they weren't able to keep the advantage. Against Inter, they were very close to lose. They lost badly against Napoli. They played quite well against Milan, but they didn't win that match. So I don't know if Lazio is a big team this year, but Roma is proving to have problems, and especially in this. The funny thing is, both teams have struggled in the second half, right? Because we saw often Roma collapsing in the second half, and we have to say that Lazio did the same thing, right? So I don't know who's going to play better. The second half is going to win the match probably, but yeah, I mean, if I'm down 1-0 and there's 5 minutes till the end of the match, yeah, I would take a draw. But for the moment, I would like to play it and see how things go.
Okay, sitting on the fence there. I'd say no, to be honest. I think Lazio have to go all out for the win here. I don't think a draw is a good enough result because I think, Inzaghi and others in the club have already said time and again that Lazio are running late this season. The start we've had means that we're behind in the race to reach our objectives. And if you're behind and if you're running late, what you need to do is make up that ground. And these head-to-head matches, whether you like it or not, are the biggest opportunity to do that because you're not only winning points but taking points off your rivals. Like I said already, I think this is a pivotal match for the season. I think Lazio do have an opportunity. Obviously, Roma are on a but yes, you pointed out there already two of their most, I guess, famous flaws this season, which are the ability to switch off in the second half and their struggles to really get results under Fonseca in these big matches. And it doesn't matter whether or not Italy or whoever considers Lazio a big team, the Rome derby is a big match. So
it's not a friendly match.
They've won 3 out of 18 games against other teams who finished in the top 7 last season. So that's Atalanta, Napoli, Lazio, the 2 Milan teams and Juve. 3 out of 18. It's a poor record, and they've not won any this season. And yes, they have had quite a few draws in there as well. But, you mentioned the second half yesterday for about at least 15-20 minutes started that second half. Inter were absolutely all over them, and it's I suppose you should say as well that Inter are famously much better in the second half than the first half, but it did show that they are far from being a completely infallible team, and they do have weaknesses that Lazio can exploit, because a lot of the ways that Inter got through them yesterday, Hakimi's surges down the right flank, the interplay between the strikers, are the same kind of strengths that Lazio have in a similar system. So Inter have almost shown a little blueprint to Lazio, although they didn't win the game in that period in the second half. It's something that I think Inzaghi and his coaching staff should look at closely and think, right, how can we emulate that and cause problems?
Well, honestly, I think Antonio Conte made the mistake, because without subbing Lautaro Martinez and Hakimi, I think probably Inter would have scored another goal and win that match. So that's the first lesson for Inzaghi. Again, Alistair, very late substitution yesterday from Simone Inzaghi. Every time Pereira comes in, I think he had a good match, but again, yesterday he came very late. And what I was thinking yesterday is, okay, we are 2-0 up. There's a derby coming on. Let's make some substitution and rest some players. And Inzaghi did that a little bit because Luis Alberto came off, Leva came off. I didn't like Leva at all, to be honest, yesterday. But as you were saying, Ciro Immobile played all the match and so on. So I don't know what's going on with the substitution, but definitely we can say that all the Andreas Pereira rumors were fake, because he came in. He was cold and he came in in the second half. So there's not any problem between Inzaghi and Pereira, and that's important, I think, for the future of the club.
Yeah, he looked motivated, didn't he? I thought he looked like he was really up for it.
Yeah, I have to say something. I don't know if you agree with me. If you play with a short sleeve, you cannot put your gloves. I mean, if you're cold, you play long sleeve and the gloves. If you are not cold, I mean, come on, short sleeve and gloves. Where do you come from?
100% with you. Also, I just generally don't think there's an excuse for gloves on a football pitch. I mean,
if you're not
do Do a proper warm up. Yeah, if you're not a goalkeeper, is a good point. Actually, they do have an excuse. Just get like the reason you do a warm up is to warm your body up. Start running around if your hands are cold. Yeah. Anyway,
Definitely.
sounding like an
Alison,
old man now.
I think we have a question on Senna Lulic, right?
Yes, Giacomo Colarulo. When's Lulic back? Nothing like having him around for a derby. So tell us what you know.
Well, he trained today fully again, and he did even the friendly match at the end of the training, and he scored. So rumors are that he could be called for the derby. I don't think he's gonna play. I think he's gonna just sit on the bench and enjoy being called back. But yeah, it looks like Inzaghi said he would have been ready end of January. It looks like he could be ready much sooner than that, and that's a big news, Alison. Let's be honest, because Fares, I don't know when he's coming back. He should have been back with the team. He didn't do the full training today. So having Lulic back, it's a big, a very important news for Lazio, because we don't have anybody there. I mean, Javan Anderson played yesterday, and that was probably one of the biggest surprise, because we didn't see him last time he played. Lazio was playing and lost against Sampdoria. So we need players there, especially after Iglitare said that we are not signing anybody because Fares and Lulic are coming back. So
it would be an amazing story, wouldn't it? For Lulic to be out for this long, and all of us to have no idea what kind of shape he's in. To be honest, even if he's only on the bench, I'd be so tempted if I was Inzaghi that 70th minute, bring him on, see what happens. You never know.
Imagine if he scores.
Take him off again on the 72nd. That's all we need.
Yeah, you have
on for 2 minutes.
You can do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, there would be something very kind of poetic about Lulic being away for so long and making his comeback in the derby. So I think almost the kind of temptation of making that happen might kind of get in the way of what is actually the right thing to do, because they need to be so careful with him. I mean, at his age, with the problems he's had and the surgery he's had, I mean, you don't want to mess around with those kind of issues if we want to have him back long term. But yes, it would be amazing, and Giacomo's absolutely right. There is nothing like having him around for a derby. You know, we want these guys there, or kind of derby guys there. I mean, you know, your Stefan Radus and your Senad Lulic to be leading the charge really in matches like this. And you know, especially against a Roma team that just don't have those kind of characters anymore. I mean, it's you know, gone are the days where Roma were being led into these battles by De Rossi or by Totti or even, you know, Florenzi or whoever it is. They're kind of homegrown guys. They're all gone. So yeah, it's a bit different. But yeah, I think, yeah, like I said, they need to be a bit careful. Steven Scarpula said, we do better in the derby historically as the underdog. And then he said, would you keep the team unchanged from the Parma game? Why don't we touch on the underdog thing first? I mean, I think that kind of goes both ways, doesn't it? There does seem to be a strange record in the derby. I mean, obviously derbies have all these cliches about the form being changed on the derby day and so on, but Rome derby does particularly seem to come true, these things.
Yes, definitely. And I was a little bit surprised by Fabio Capello, who said that Roma is much better prepared for the derby than Lazio. I was a little bit shocked because, yes, Roma is ahead, but again, I didn't see Roma playing great football against big team. They won against small teams like Crotone, etc. But against big team, you can see that there's something missing. So, or Capello doesn't consider Lazio a big team, or I'm a little bit surprised. But yeah, I definitely love the underdog situation because, again, this is a match Lazio have to win to keep fighting for the Champions League. And I hope the players give something extra because They finally won 2 matches in a row. It's time to win 3. Roma is ahead, so it's a team that Lazio should be beating to recover in the table. So yeah, I mean, I think in the history of the last couple of years, all the time the underdog played better. So
I don't think we should be too surprised about a former Roma coach saying that Roma are in a good position and there. But also, I don't think you can really criticise the point he's made anyway, because Roma are in much better form. There's no denying that. And well, they are. I mean, Lazio have won 2 games in a row, but even the first one of those we were complaining about. I mean, we can't rewrite history now and say that Lazio's last few games have been brilliant because they haven't.
Definitely.
So with that in mind, I agree with the idea that Roma aren't playing mind-blowingly good stuff, and they're not unbeatable by any means, but they are the team in form going into this of the two. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, I think that their weaknesses have come to light in recent times as well. Like I already mentioned the Inter game, but there was Atalanta as well just before Christmas. They got absolutely destroyed, lost 4-1 in that match. Again, terrible second half. So there are, there are examples and things for Inzaghi and everyone else to look at and to follow in terms of how to exploit the weaknesses of this team. But I think it's going to be really, really important for Lazio to start the game well. I mean, Roma are going to fly at them, I think, from kickoff, and they really need to keep their heads and keep it together. It's going to be so strange having a derby without fans.
Yeah.
For the first time, we avoided that last season somehow, but
yeah, because it was one of the last matches with a full stadium. So yeah, that's gonna have a huge impact for me in the derby. I fear it's gonna be more relaxed, more slow pace derby. I think it's gonna be less emotional, I think, for players. So this is gonna have a huge impact. This could be a completely different derby for me. So having experienced players could help, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna have that impact. You're not gonna feel the same pressure with fans as at the stadium. So it's gonna be very different. It's gonna be very weird, but there's nothing we can do about it. So, well, the only thing we have to hope is that you don't get accredited for the match. That's our top priority.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear back on that. So
oh my,
we'll see. Yeah, I don't like this. I mean, you genuinely have your campaign has now got people messaging me, asking me not to go to the Tardini, not to go to the derby. Your kind of campaign of superstition is working.
It's not superstition. It's numbers. It's fact. Next time that you go to the Lazio match, call me, so I'm gonna bet against Lazio. It's gonna be easy money.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, this would be a good time to end it, eh?
Well, you don't have any stats?
Not today. I think my one stat was going to be about the fact that Lazio have won 2 games in a row for the first time since November, but then you went and used that literally in your first sentence of the podcast. So
sorry, I'm prepared.
I know, shocking. We did have a comment. Lawan Tala said, "Whatever happens on Friday will always be la prima squadra della capitale," which is absolutely right. Should we say happy birthday to Lazio and all the Laziali, 121 years. And Vittorio, a lot of content from the Lazio social channels around this, which surprised me. I mean, yes, all of it's still in Italian, so English speakers will have been lost. But can we talk about the message from Claudio Lotito, and then at the end where he looks away from the camera? I mean, I thought it was an absolutely amazing Lotito moment.
Well, I think it couldn't be worse than the one of the Christmas, right? That was simply embarrassing. I don't know. There is the one, what was it, last year? Yes, for the Supercoppa Italiana, where in South Arabia he's tried to speak English and it's simply embarrassing. I don't know. I will put this one as number 3, honestly, of his best performance. The Christmas and the Super Copa are challenging for the first place, definitely.
Or the photo shoot in the cockpit of the plane was quite good as well.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe too much yesterday. I mean, Javan Anderson posting the happy birthday. Did we really need it? I mean, he's hardly playing. Come on.
It was unbelievable. I mean, it was an absolute non-stop stream of Lazio players and coaches, old and new, and celebrities and whatever, all sending videos. And I was kind of wondering where this kind of energy and enthusiasm for social media content is gone the rest of the time. They used it all up in one day.
I think it was contagious because we saw even former players who were invited who wish happy birthday to Lazio on social.
Yeah, it was a bit strange, but in a good way. So yeah, happy birthday, Lazio.
Definitely. I really love the Mihajlovic thing. And can I say something? I'm very disappointed that Roberto Mancini didn't do nothing. Or did I miss him? Don't think so.
I don't know. I lost track of how many people there were. Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't feel allowed to. I mean, even the Pope was saying happy birthday to Lazio. So if big Papa Francesco is doing it, then Mancini should be as well. You're quite right.
Definitely. Okay, I think we can close it here. I mean, high style, maximum level with the Pope. Thanks again, everybody, for listening. Remember, you can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. And if you want to support our podcast, you can on patreon.com/Lazio Lounge or on our store. You'll find the link in the description. Good night, Alistair. And we're going to talk Friday night, Saturday, probably. It depends if we win or not.
Yeah, see how we're feeling. Yeah.
Ciao,
see you then.